Whoop-de-doo, whoop-de-doo, whoop-de-doo. Hello, everybody. Oh my god. Has it been a busy little bit of a morning for me? I've been a bit busy while, slightly ignoring a certain class. Don't mind me. It's okay. It's a really easy class, and I know a lot of the stuff that's going on in it. But, I've been really, nope, as I punch out a torch, really busy, working on some stuff, and I'm not technically even done with it yet. I've got about 76 more items to go on it, but, what I would like to tell you about as we start today's episode is that I'm working on effectively collating the entire collection together in such a way that it now, actually can exist, within the world. One of the major problems that I kind of started to realize, over the past not too long, but also kind of since we've been working on the trees, is that almost running like this for every area in the collection just isn't efficient enough. This is a 10 block wide area for one item. One item gets relatively 6 double chests, and that's about it. I'm gonna be honest, I kind of started to realize by the time that I got over to here and started designing everything out, and moving over into this mob drops area, which the mob drops are still some of my greatest, in my opinions, one of my greatest, areas of where, I could have collated these better, knowing what I've done now, that I kind of think of them as not as good as what we're going to be doing. This area over here has been hard designed and decided to be the elevators, as we know, and I'm only saying this because I'm about to show you quite a wonderful little diagram that I have been working on over the past little bit before we get to work on the actual, system up top that is going to, use this diagram to actually work things out for us. And it's quite a fancy little thing. It's called an Excel spreadsheet, and Excel spreadsheets seem to be my go-to tool for anything involving blocks or needing to array any amount of detail. Yeah, so give me just 1 second here. It's gonna take me just a moment to get some things set up. But on screen now, you're seeing what is the diagram of the current collection. There is a little bit you are not seeing off to the sides on the right and left. But what you are basically seeing here is the current diagram as stands of the collection. You can see, I believe you can see that on the screen. Yeah. You can see down over here is where we currently enter. We go all the way in. There's the elevators where they're going to be. These are all the multi-item collections that we have so far, alongside all of, some of our non-things. You'll notice there's these 2 reds. That's because I'd like to actually shift something in the collection to allow them to hold. And there's also all of the other stuff that's up here. I will explain what the green means in a bit. I'll explain what the white means. I'll explain what the black means as well. However, first, you may be wondering a little thing with those reds. Well, how the frick am I supposed to do that? Didn't I say that the upper area of the collection is, overfilled? Yes, I have said that. The upper area of the collection is undergoing some major struggles. What the frick is this bee doing? Is this bee pathfinding out? Wait a minute, don't tell me this bee has figured out pathfinding that well that I need to actually have this door in. Anyways, as I was going to say, Yeah, some of you may know that the upper area of the collection is a little bit overfilled. My main the main reason we know this is, well, this system right here doesn't play well with the water stream system we currently have. And you get horrible messes like this. I'm not very proud of this. This is way too many hoppers. I think this is a disgrace upon the collection, and it is something I intend to remove as part of this project. Some of you may further be like, oh, like, okay, if we're doing that, then yeah, like, we can set some things up, we can fix some things around. I mean, we're gonna get some stuff over here that's gonna look nice. Inevitably, we're using one tile wide, droppers, seeing as these are inefficient, and they were what I knew, but have now learned better. All of these will transfer to a one tile wide dropper that is, more efficient, drops in a cleaner line, all of that fun jazz, yada, yada, yada. Basically, there's a lot of things over here that needs to shift. And I don't want to point a finger at anything in particular, but I do know what the major cause and problem for this is. It is effectively my unwillingness to have just pushed this up a few blocks. And the main reason for that is the water stream. Now, the water stream here has been, as we know, the most complicated and annoying part of this. So much so that I have entirely decided to remove it. It has forcefully squeezed things in too tight in certain areas. It has forcefully said that, oh, we can't exactly interact with certain things here. It's made these all weird. Again, like I said, we will be swapping these out for a one tile wide version as soon as we get the slime farm set up. And then the other thing is well, like, we really shouldn't be having the water stream anyways, because it sets up very laggy situations of, like, certain items just not collecting fast enough, and the wonderful noise of this plus all of those minecarts up there, wherever they are. I'm kind of a bit concerned that I can't hear the minecarts right now. But, like, yeah, okay, you can see them all. But so, like, for instance, there is a lot of items going through right now. All of that is, like, full. Now, of course, a lot of those are some trash items, I will admit. Like, we can't currently sort out those acacia planks. We don't currently have the sorter in place for bones or arrows, which is a problem. Iron, has to do the whole loop right now to get to where it goes. We're going to do something that's going to fix all of this, effectively. And it's called, I'm going to be willing to move water streams, basically. Because we're not going to have a water stream anymore. As I said, well, there's a small asterisk on that, but mostly we're not going to have a water stream anymore. This room right here is the intended room where the start of the major copper golem sorter is going to go in. I intend to start putting in the copper golem sorter, if not today. Well, we will probably be doing this as part of today. It's just there's a lot of stuff that goes into this. We'll be putting it in here relatively today. I do want to change a little bit of how this room is set up. I need to back this up a bit, get it to the end of that water stream before it corners, so that I can basically set up a nice little hopper collection chain that all just says, hi, yeah, shove this all into the collection, the collection's main sorter here, because there's a fairly large amount of items that can come into this thing at one time. So, let's head back downstairs now that I've kind of explained some things. But yes, the water stream has been our main issue in terms of reasons and rationale as to why we haven't done some things that we should have, basically. And we'll get into what the expansion of the collection is going to look like next, because yeah, no, that is also what I wanted to talk about today, is expanding the collection beyond the single floor here. And let me just get back to my table real quick. But yeah, so that's all neat, fun and games and wonderful and all that, but you know, that only solved, like, basically this floor's problem. The next floor has a fun little, or the next set of floors have a fun little wonderful thing, as I'm sure you started to realize, where, to make this fit within a relatively reasonable amount, I would like basically the footprint of the collection's main storage areas, and I say that as the important set of dialogue to put in there. The collection's main storage area needs to stay within the same footprint so that it is constantly loaded at all times. Whenever I am back at the Great Bridge Project, whenever I'm standing right here, whenever I'm doing practically anything around my base, the entire collection needs to be loaded at the same time. Otherwise, it is effectively a dud design that can and will mess itself up. It can have some severe issues if not taken care of properly, especially with, you know, the current water stream system. But again, we're trying to remove this, so hopefully it gets better. But yeah, no, the next floors get into where we kind of have to solve that issue of things not all fitting into all the same chunks anymore if I were to keep on this chain of existence. And let me pull up the spreadsheet diagram again for you all. So this is all nice and dandy, but this is what we really need to be doing. As you can see, every single, like, block is effectively used here. There's the little walkthrough areas that we intend to keep. I intend to keep that same structure. But, effectively, what each green zone on this map is a area where a chest can sit within the, or where a chest can and will sit as part of the construction of the later floors of the collection. This is set up this way basically so as to allow for us to say, you know, group some things together, make a bunch of these, you know, what we did basically for the logs and saplings and whatnot, and just lump them all together into certain areas, kind of akin to what we're doing with the ores and what we're doing with the wool and everything else that we already have. Except on a much denser version. So I want to go through just a little bit of the ideas that I have in here. Copper is going to be one of the funny ones because we're going to have a copper golem sorter which goes to a copper golem sorter so that we can have all of the different variants of all the copper blocks, which, by the way, make up the majority of the blocks in the game right now. It's kind of stupid that so much goes to copper and its rust system. But yes, every single copper block is going to go on the second layer into a singular area where we're just going to have copper golems basically dump a bunch of copper into that room. Cool. That's nice and easy. That handles well. Alrighty, that boy, what about the rest of these? You're going to see that a lot of colored items of the same set show up together. So like beds, carpets, terracottas, glazed terracottas, concrete and concrete powder go together. All the glasses, all the candles, all the banners and whatnot. Even the ominous banner actually snuck in here and got its own little spot. But yeah, all of the colored items relatively sit together within here. I've included, coral as well, sitting relatively nearby. Minecart and rails are going to sit together with a weird little system right here that is mostly there to kind of align it with the walkthrough line here, but also allow just for everything that needs to sit within there. And we also get, like in the weird instance of glass where there's technically 17, not 16 colors that we need to worry about. Where all 17 are accounted for at once. Also, I've included some golden foods here. Foods have kind of dotted themselves out throughout here, but food also has a major area. We have most of our naturals up here. We've got netherite over here. Amethyst gets its own little spot, and then basically block collections that are like stairs, slabs, walls, all of that end up grouped together alongside pressure plates and buttons of that color, or whatever we're talking about. There's also a fun little area over here that we're going to actually have multiple spots for, but just basic fireworks are going to end up down here as sort of a tool for it. And if something is within the collection but cannot be collected by the player, i.e. the chorus plant, it also is going to be showcased in the collection, just not have a chest, it'll just have like a little textbook about it. On to the next page, we start to see a lot more of those block collections show up over here, but we also get to start seeing some like specialty items such as goat horns. I've included some of the crafting stuff, missing torches that weren't a few floors up. We get music discs, we get all of the different things for villagers all in one zone. We're gonna have a secondary enchanted book library because I bet a bunch of you didn't realize this. My library that is within the Minecraft world, which is where my character is currently standing, is actually, in my opinion, part of the collection. It is meant to be the enchanted book collection and technically any written book collection zone. But because it doesn't have technically a spot within the collection for drop-off, the secondary enchanted book library is where that belongs. Over here, we're going to have a painting gallery, which will collect every single painting. And it's in these weird display segments that we start to actually see more entities showing up. Like, for instance, painting gallery, the armor display, which is going to include every single trim variant of every single armor piece, by the way, which is why this one will extend beyond the wall. We're going to have all the trims here collected. There's going to be a little head collection over here down with all the heads. This will basically cover the player head segment. However, because of the data pack that we have downloaded, however, again, this player head thing is player heads are actually normally unachievable in survival mode, so we have to kind of get them in a fancy way. Shulker boxes are going to be an interesting one, but again, we're going to copper golem sorter them by color because they can differentiate color, just not, shulker boxes. And yeah, there's a few other little things that sit within here that are like, basically, I'm just trying to collect everything relatively based off of what I figured it should be. We go down a bit and we get every single remaining wood, or every single type of remaining wood piece in the game exists within these two columns, regardless of what they are. You also get to see some specialty little micro tools down here that's in the corner. And we also get the fun thing of we get to start collecting some of the items which will see the return of the water stream. We cannot escape it. Main reason being is copper golems do not understand tipped arrows. they consider every single tipped arrow to be the same thing. It's a little bit weird. I don't understand why. But they consider every tipped arrow to be the same thing. And I kind of think this is a bug, in my opinion, that they consider it to be all the same thing. But, as I'm dying from, speaking nonstop, the collection's arrows are going to be sorted by hopper. Well, these ones can be hoppered. I'm thinking about the next set that we have to worry about, actually. But, like, the Suspicious Stews up here are going to require a water stream for them. And it'll be a tiny little water stream that'll basically just cycle all the stuff here. But the Suspicious Stews cannot be stored and, figured out by Copper Golem. So we will use allays to figure them out. Seeing as allays can pick up and sort non-stackables, we just have to do the funny little hee-hee-hoo-hoo, sort them out, stick them in cauldrons, play some note box underneath them, have them throw it into, or right beside them, and have them throw it into hoppers, which just sit right there. It's kind of a janky little system, but what has to be done, to get what we need out of it. Additionally, this is where the rest of the food items make their way into. I lumped hay bale in with this because hay bales, wheat is already in here all the way back up in the current version of the collection. So hay bale would be an awkward block that sits nowhere, without it. So I kind of just threw it in with this. Where's the other one? Oh yeah, beacons make their way over here alongside conduits. We also get a lot of some naturals, sitting their way into all of this, and, slowly, we're able to kind of integrate everything. All of the pet armors make their way into right there. Yeah, basically there's a whole bunch of stuff. And then this is the one that I was trying to finish up right before stream started. And it is the major one. All of the potions in the game fall under a system of, we're sadly going to need to Copper Golem sort basically the big chunks, and then have allays pick up the smaller subsets of them. Because Copper Golems have no idea what the frick is in a potion. And they basically only say, like, hey, this is this type of potion, throw it down this chest, basically. So this is the major water stream, sadly, of the collection. It cannot be avoided. But a small water stream like this is really easy to handle. This is not something that will cause a lot of lag, especially because each of these are non-stackables. Only one real item at a time goes through the recycler. It will not bulk up. It will not get too stuck. Basically, assume hopper speed handling for all of these. We just are using literally we're literally using a water stream just to get around the fact that a Copper Golem cannot understand it. There is an area here for every boat in the game, giving them a little bit of space. This is the one area of the item part of the collection where entities will be showcased, just because they're an entity that is basically an item and is best to put in here. Over here is all of the main tool gears, with above it a small segment dedicated to all of the other non-immediate tool gears. Why is that PLO boat there? I thought I deleted that earlier. That is fine. It's sitting right there. And then there's another little area over here, which is going to be our map gallery for every major map that we have within the world. All of these empty blank spots that we have left should be enough space to cover the remaining 76 items that I have not yet put into the thing. It's just, they're kind of going to be a little bit weirdly grouped. We're running into that situation where everything kind of is just at ends with each other, and there is going to be some slight problems. So, yeah, that is the current plan for the collection, basically, which is great because we now have every item figured out. Except some of you might be realizing, wait, what happens if we have more, or when more updates come and more items get added in and everything else? Aren't you intending to also collect the mobs? Yes, mobs are intending to be collected as well. Mobs will be collected on floors below the item collection area. But that still doesn't answer the question of what about when they add more updates and stuff of the likes. Basically, the way we're going to do that is as updates come after the collection is finished, we will start actually collecting by update as the way to do it. Meaning, basically, if they add a mob, if they add anything fancy in there, we'll just build a little collection chamber for all of it at one time, and collect all the items for that update at any given time, lump it all together, throw it into a room, call it a day. That is the area. It keeps all the mobs, it keeps all the everything else, it keeps all entities and the likes neatly added together. And if they add a different wood type and whatnot, it basically just keeps all the wood types in one little zone, or keeps that new wood type in its own little zone, basically. I have high doubts they'll be adding a new wood type anytime soon, though, because yeah, there's some fun little stuff that I have feelings about with Minecraft and their way of doing some things recently, it seems. But anyways, this is beyond the point, and I'm starting to get a little bit into the depths of some things that I don't necessarily like about the coding structure of this game. But anyways, so back to the point at hand. We've got to get collecting, we've got to get moving some things. We've effectively got a copper golem sorter to build. And boy, howdy, is that a fun little experience for us. We've got a lot of these guys that we need to keep going. We've got a lot of things that we need to work on. I need honeycomb. I need a lot of it. Because we need to collect, or we need to get the bees being again. Why are the bees not being right now? Probably because there's a bunch of bees out and about somewhere. I have no idea where. Hang on. F3, B, honey level. Does it tell me where the bees are? It does not tell me whether or not the bees are in there. I did not want that. I did not want that either. I do not currently have my Silk Touch on me, so I can't just go check what the bees are up to. But yeah, no. So we've got some copper golems to put together. We've got some stuff that we need to work on. Where is this? This is my Silk Touch. And I can quickly add Unbreaking onto this bad boy. Yeah. I should have checked whether it was cheaper to do the other way, but I was pretty sure that was going to be the cheapest, looking at it. Whoop-de-doo, de-whoop-de-woo. I want to check the bees here. Yeah, okay. All the bees are in here. They're just sleeping or something. I don't know. Anyways, that was just me wanting to check that stuff. So we're not going to actually have like all of the items running through the copper golem system today. That is quite literally something that is going to take far too long to get completed. And also, kind of ignores the fact that we still need to set up the slime farm. Like, the slime farm is becoming more and more required by the day because I need to get slime balls into the collection to get it, working properly. But the one thing we are going to do today, and I should actually, I should have my, ender chest so that I can properly actually, you know, do this. There we go. I'm like, let me just fly on over here so I don't have to, go down. Where is my loose ender chest? Because I do kind of need that. Bad boy. I don't think it's anywhere in the collection. And you know, if I need to, I almost right-clicked the egg there. That would have been annoying and would have been scary because doing that is deadly. Doo-doo-woo. I mean, I know that I have this one, which that's why we need our ender chest, is because we're gonna set up some nice these guys here. Doo-doo-woo. Did I throw it in one of these? I don't think I would have. I don't think I would have. What is making the groan? Did a zombie spawn up there? Ow. Ow. I'm like, is there zombies sitting right outside the window here? Or up here? I mean, I didn't think they could spawn. Like, I don't know where that is, but I'm assuming it's just being extra, you know. Yeah, okay. Did I leave it at the end portal? That's probably where I left it, actually. Is at the end portal. Which is fine. We can take a quick trip on over there and grab that. Kind of need to anyways. Yeah, I also do need to at some point I do need to get me you know, fireworks started. That's like part of the many farms that we're going to do. I am also considering making my slime farm and my mob farm just one thing together, and having them, you know, use the same system, because there's no reason why I necessarily can and or cannot do that. You know what we're gonna do is I'm just gonna mine all this. We're gonna take all the wonderful stuff that is all of this. I'm gonna go make me a new ender chest because I think I've lost an ender chest somewhere. And I don't really want to worry about finding another one. I'm just gonna make a new one because that's gonna be the easy way to do this. The less painful way to do it as well. And yeah. I just think it's easier. Did I? Okay, I did go the right way, I believe. Damn, I messed that up. Do-do. 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 Yep, boop. Alright. And I go. Okay, so we need Eyes of Ender, or I need an Ender Pearl, right? Is it just an Ender Pearl or is it an Eye of Ender? I forget the actual legitimate what it needs out of there. Whoop, whoop, whoop. Let's just go sit right here. Ender chest needs Eye of Ender. Which I do know we have some extra Ender Pearls sitting over in one of these chests. Damn, I am surprised it's not just sitting in here. Prop form ending on those. That needs to come out and go with me up here. And then all of, we're gonna need a lot of these as well. I need to grab that that blaze powder and make an eye bender. Alrighty, let's go do that now that I've got that done. Whoop-de-woo. We're slowly moving everything out of the collection, so I am kind of in the position of I don't necessarily care whether or not something stays in the collection for too long anymore. Alrighty, there we go. There's all that done. We've got plenty of chests because we only need 20 for this immediately. And then, yeah, alrighty. Let's go get up there. Let's go get started putting in each of the copper golems, waxing them up. Yeah, let's have our fun. I forgot I kind of need blocks for this. Where is our wonderful deep slate? Have I gotten a bunch of deep slate? I did go get myself a bunch of deep slate. I was smart, and I did gather a bunch of that. Okay. Which then means also I can, you know, casually just polish all of this up. And that'll be redstone stuff. Woo. Sit over here in the corner. Do. And boop. Boop. Doot. Damn. You know, the spacebar trick has not been working for me recently, and I'm kind of a bit confused as to why not. It's kind of annoying. I don't know if it's like a keybind problem that I just don't recognize or something else. But yeah, no. It's been bothering me recently because I've been trying to do something, and then it'll be like, no, you're not allowed. And I'll be sad, and then it'll be like, oh, you're fine. You don't need the ability to, you know, use that keybind. Alrighty, here we are. Let's sit up here, and again, like I said, I would like to dig this out just a little bit further, so that we can get that corner right there as our main, you know, standpoint, because we're going to basically raise this up a bit here, and that's going to be the main water that goes into the copper golem sorter right there. We're going to use the soul sand as it is, to just have it enter this spot right over here. Doop-dee-doo. Doop-dee-woo. Dig, 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 dig. Dig, 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 dig. And there we go. Alrighty. Just put this torch here. So, as we've said, we need to basically be willing to push certain ones of these up and certain ones of these down, but we would like the copper golem sorter itself to be at the highest point of all of these. Basically what that means is where those sorters are up there, the copper golem sorter needs to be up at least right here, I would say. Our copper golems are going to practically live on the chest that they are sorting on, which does mean I do need to actually take these three out a bit more. Again, you'll understand as we go through. And I would like the ability to actually set and mess with the filters, so I am also going to dig back about 4 blocks more on this side, so that I could also, work that out for us. Whoop-de-doo. Yeah. So, because this side will be where the redstone for the sorter goes. Yeah, and then this is 1, 2, 3. And then this will be number 4. Yeah, just go this. And also dig this 3 blocks back. And then this all the way over. Do. And again, as I've said before, the main reason we're using copper golems is because at the end of the day, the speed of the collection isn't exactly what matters. It's more just the fact, well, it does matter, but it's more like we need to make sure that the input and outputs stay relatively consistently speed matched. But we also just are really worried about the amount of item entities that can get moved at a time. Because if we're moving a million items all at once and things just get locked up, like that's bad. The current water stream system basically builds a lockup, as you can see within the hoppers, which is bad, as we know. Alrighty, so, whoop-de-doo, yep. This can sit back closed, because that needs to do that. We will then, let me set this bad boy down over here. Get us these wonderful guys set up and ready alongside their copper chests. And yeah, so I want to say this block right here wants to be where the copper golems come in. And then we want to set the, we want to go, let's see here. Yeah, the items will flow up and into that from there, alongside having a, expansive, hopper stream. Well, that's not a very expansive hopper stream, is the problem. Yeah, and again, the items can get really fast here. They need that. We can run it across that way. And then use sort of, we'll have it so that it's, God, how do I do that? Because the collection stuff problems now all line here. Yeah, that's relatively... I might need to push this back a bit, in terms of that side. Here, you know what? What we will do is, regardless, that needs to be our inline to the next set of chests. And then this is where all of these get sorted. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and then I've messed this up because this needs about an extra block over. How did I not see that as something that would be a problem? I have no idea. Let's move this all over one. Whoop-de-doo. De-woo. And there we go. Light it up, break this out, and then this gets to live right there as our sort of connector to the next one. Yeah, so that's where the copper chest has to go then. What the frick was that? Did that, like, jump? Alrighty, and then this gets to sit right there. This gets to sit right here. And then this bad boy. I feel like I had this set up in a way that was better than this, where they didn't have... I think these are meant to be one lower. I'm being an idiot, I think. Yeah, I think the copper chest sits lower than the sits higher than the bottom set of chests. Me and my dumbness over here. Alrighty, there that goes. Whoop-de-doo. Do whoop boop 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 boop, and then this is where that goes in. We do that, and then each one of these, yeah, each one of these has a hopper off of it, which does all of the sorting that we need it to. Actually, this just sits one higher, because we want to... No, we want to use the shorter version that does do all of that like that. Alright, that sits there. All of these sit, all these sit right here, and then we want slabs to go right here, alongside our golems. Did I put a... I did not put one in there. Look, I haven't gone through and organized this yet, okay? I need to. It's one of the many things that I would like to do. It's one of the many things that needs to occur. I just haven't yet. We'll sleep real quick. Go grab myself some wood as it passes by, and that'll empty out some stuff out of the collection lines, of course. Hang on. Damn. I was like, can I do that jump? There's the sounds I'm used to hearing. As everything flies by. Yummy noises. How are we looking? We are looking very full. We are looking very, very full. This is nice and neat. That's enough wood for what we need. I still think that that waterfall part right there is the coolest thing. It's sad that we will be removing it. Like, I'm very sad that we're going to be removing that part right there. I need this right here so that I can craft up some slabs. Slabarooskies. Throw those out real quick. This gets to sit right there, which allows us to watch the copper golems as they go through. We will decorate this room inevitably as a filtered location. I'm just gonna put this here so that I can throw things that I don't necessarily care for in here. And we go 1, 2, 3, 4. We want relatively 4 of them. And now I just go. And hang on. There we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, there we go. Those guys are all prepped and ready. They can, oh yeah, that's right. I wanted to put these as walls, actually, not slabs. I forget. Main reason being is because they can move past each other much easier if these are walls. Walls are whoop-de-doo, we'll just do this. Well, you, sir, have escaped. Do-do-do. Yep, and they can still open these. This doesn't really do anything fancy other than... Hang on. Let me in! Let me in! I'm trying to force this guy to go back in a second. I might actually be forcing him off. Hang on. No. Crap. This is not working. How do I solve this? It's called... I make them all want to sort something. Go. You know what to do. There you go. Problem solved. They're all in the sorter again. Haha. I win. I have bestity. I have bestity. You cannot stop what you cannot beat on that one. Okay. So now these guys will be sorting for all eternity. The other thing that we need to do is for each and every single one of these items as they come in, we're basically going to have a hopper line that goes off to nowhere, with each one of these being what is effectively actually sorting from there. And the best way that we're going to do that is by 2, 3, this goes there. That will sit like this. Wait a minute. No, it won't, because this needs to go one lower. Which does also mean I need to mine all of these out. And then these can all sit right here like this. The other good news is I have Elytra, which are secretly a redstoner's best friend, because I can do this and not have to worry about any amount of blocks placed anywhere anymore. I can just get in there. Eh. 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 But, copper golems don't care about names, basically, is something that that's something I don't think I realized for the trash part of this. Well, anyways, there's a way around that is relatively easy to do, that lets us sort any amount of items. So basically what we're going to do is in here is going to be all of the filtered items. We'll put enough stacks so that this basically is just the item filter here is just one off from launching whatever's in there, and we will basically fill the entire chest with items so that it's like, oh, I can't fit anything in here other than the one set of items that goes in here at a time. This is to help with stack overflow issues and basically, you know, save us from major headaches later on with some of the non-stackables as well, because they will be a problem. Effectively, once an item gets sorted, it will, that is, like, basically the only spot that needs to get sorted. Alright, but, ooh, that might actually be a problem because certain items might move too quickly. We should be fine with the 4 golems. Yeah, the 4 golems will need to work there. I need to do some just a slight bit more testing on some of these guys, but the main important part is I can do this wonderful shape, and this will effectively cover our, well, it'll cover our, it'll cover how we're going to distribute all of these from here on out, because it's through all of these lines right here that we get to go pull this line out and it gets to go to its part. We get to pull this line out and it gets to go to this part. Same thing. These are basically the water stream managers is what this is. Anything, you know, anything more or less than that, and or if we need more, we link it in to this wonderful little concept right here, which will basically just guarantee that we don't run out of space. Is what we're going to do, is we're going to double hopper those so that that is moving as fast as it can over. These will just be single hopper speed, means that transfer from this to this will be slightly slow, but that's fine. I can also put the walls up there. I tend to forget about that. And hang on. Actually, yeah. Let me go grab a few more of these, and we will be done in just a moment after I get all of these in. There we go, and that gets to sit right there. Woo. This way, the copper golems will actually be able to, you know, move around each other pretty consistently. Like, they have, you know, effectively two blocks of space in here of room to do stuff with. So they will be able to walk around each other. And this will allow them every other bit of space that they need. So this should be legitimately everything we need to do to start doing this. And this chest right here will be where we manage what is basically all of the current items on the first floor. I've done a tester. It can be done with what is currently there. The rest of these are where we're going to probably have to deviate a little bit from our floor-to-floor basis, but this is it, everybody. This is what the sorter is going to look like relatively from our side. We'll be able to come up here, you know, check these out. There will be a staircase that goes probably over from the open hallway that we haven't finished, or the unopened hallway that we haven't finished up over there, which will wrap around and connect up into here, and be our way to basically mess with and check the filters at any given time. There will be probably, like, this will be probably the floor height, so I'll be standing about 2 blocks above so that the hoppers just go under that, and I will be able to access and be like, ah, yes, this is what we need, and I can also, you know, just have our fun. So, let's end the episode, because that was a pretty, a pretty busy episode, not gonna lie, that we just got done with. Whoop-de-doo. I haven't set up any of these items at all, which is probably why the bones and the arrows are doing so much bones and arrowing, because, yep. Whoop-de-doo. Nom nom nom. Alrighty. And do-do. Whoa, that was crazy. I had a lag launch there. Alrighty. And with that, everybody, hope you all have enjoyed this episode a whole bunch. I know that I have. It has been really freaking fun working on all this stuff, but it has definitely been a lot, and I do know that this was definitely a very technical episode. A lot of the episodes in the near future are going to be that way. I can't help it. Within the next few streams, I need to be finishing the slime farm. The slime farm is going to be my top priority. And I kind of intend to, like I've said, transform that into more than just a slime farm. I think I want to make that my full mob farm. And just take the slower rates for it, but just transform it into the full mob farm, basically. Because I think that'll be the best way to make it work overall. So with that said and done, everybody, thank you once again for watching. I hope you all have enjoyed. This has been a great episode for me, and I hope it's been a good one for you. Hope you all have a good time. Have a good